I'm gonna get into a dope conversation on this. Cause here's the thing, the reality is this, and ladies, don't be afraid to step your standards up. It's okay to only want a man that knows how to build wealth. You know what I'm talking about? It's okay to only want a man that know how to build wealth. If he doesn't know the processes of wealth building, see, here's the thing, and why I say that, because you can say, oh, you want a man that's rich, right? And it's okay for him not to have the riches yet, but it's not okay for him to not know how to get it. It's not okay for him to not know what to do with it once he have the money and the wealth. So if that man don't know how to build, then you might as well leave him, sis. You understand me? Like, how you consider yourself the head of your family when you don't know how to head your family? Black men deal with a lot of insecurities when it comes to successful black women or black women that know their true value and worth, right?
Yeah,
A
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of black men are only used to dealing with black women that have insecurities that they can exploit. So when you get to a place where you're dealing with confident black women, such as the ones that exist today, and they need to see real and true value, then you feel attacked. You understand me? And so when a person feel attacked, then they go on the defense and they want to attack this person as much as they've hurt them. But instead of feeling attacked, see, a real man, he gonna take that as a gentle challenge. See, a beautiful feminine woman presents her man with a gentle challenge because she wants him to grow. What
Come
does
on,
a
bro.
farmer do? Why would you have something and you that you are supposed to be a nurturer of, and you not want it to grow?
Come
So
on.
a real woman that is a nurturer is not going to come to a provider and not want to grow him into a better provider. She's going to say, wait a minute, you say you're a real man, well, let me help you grow into a better
Mmm.
man. And she comes with the necessary skill sets and gentle challenge to be able to help you produce those qualities that will allow you to be able to become a real man. And the reason I say the gentle challenge, because ladies, hey, some of y'all a little rough now. Like when we teach men how to be men, it's not just the principles. Like when we teach him a man business and wealth strategies, that's teaching him manhood, because that giving him the ability to be able to take care of himself and a family. When the independent black man and the dependent black woman are both constructs of white supremacy, right? Because what happens is it creates repulsion, because now the black woman can't depend on a dependent black man, right? And the independent black woman depends on no one. And a family unit is created through interdependency, which attracts them.
That's
She is
good.
attracted to an independent man that can be dependent on, right? And he's attracted to her, the qualities of her interdependence, allowing him to be the provider and the producer. So we have been made to repel each other. And the reconstructing of a man is giving him those qualities that allow him to be independent and also allow him to be dependent upon, right? And then allowing her to understand the qualities of her feminine energy working in conjunction with the masculine to produce a nation. Like if you work in a job, the goal is to go for more experience, not more money. The job will never be able to pay you as much for your time that you're worked in the first place. But the knowledge that you receive while you're on the job will be more
Talk.
than the money they can ever pay you. Because
Yep.
that's something that's going to give you a return for the rest of your life. But while many people was trying to figure out how to get a raise instead of how to get more responsibilities, they
Come on.
left the job with less skill sets, so they weren't as valuable, but they got paid more for their time. You understand me? But when you go in there saying that, damn, let me do this, that, and the third, so when I leave here, I'm more valuable, so therefore I can do all of these things for myself. If
Whew.
you go into every job with an exit strategy, then the exit strategy is so you can become a boss. But if you go into the job saying that, how can I become a high paid employee? Then that's all you will be searching for is another master your whole life to pay you more for your time when they can never pay you as much as you actually worth. So it is a racket until you learn how to do for self and you seek the qualities that allow you to improve your value. That's what we work on. Seek the qualities that allow you to improve your value. So
Yeah.
I can demonstrate that when I work for someone, I wanted to figure out, yo, I need to do the merchandising side. Let me do some of the clientele. Let me do some of the visualizing, or the visual merchandising. Let me do some of the management. Let me learn how these things, because I know for a fact I'm going to use all of that for myself, right? pay me some extra little money, because y'all already can't pay me when I'm worked in the first place. Y'all be having to give me
Yeah.
$100,000 a day to stay here. Shit, I'm gonna need
Yeah.
equity in the company. I know y'all ain't prepared to give me all of that. So just let me get more responsibility so I can learn how to build my own company, since you ain't gonna give me equity in it. You understand me? But if and this is why I say most of you all don't have good negotiation skills.
Talk,
Because
talk, talk.
even if you had the ability of greater negotiation, you could have negotiated an extra $5. You understand me? Because they had it in your budget, but instead you waited 5 years to get $1 per year on a raise. So you have to go in there knowing your value. Listen, when I worked the job, this was my thing. I worked the job. I got paid $100,000 a year. Everybody said, "Goddamn, Keys, that's good, man. $100,000 a year. You doing your thing, boy. I'm happy. I'm able to get a family, couple of dollars, move around, do what I got to do." But I also knew that, man, this $100,000 is cheap to my potential, because I'm the greatest salesman in the world. I told these people earlier, man. You know what I'm talking about? Look. But true reality, because my whole thing is this: I can sell an AC unit to an Eskimo. You understand me? And I got the ability to do that. And once I learned that, I said, "God damn, I have a greater sales ability than everybody in this company," right? So if I'm getting paid on the same metric scale that you paying everybody else, you're not taking accountability my full value. You put us all on the same tier system. So I say, okay, I know for a fact that I was working there getting paid $100,000. I said, damn, if I can make millions for them, my exact mindset was I can make millions for myself, but I'm gonna keep a larger percentage of the profit, right? So boom, fired them. Y'all gone. See, people work for somebody else that will pay them less than what they worth, because they can't pay themselves what they worth.
Mm, mm,
When you able to
mm,
pay yourself what you worth, that's when you become a boss.
mm.
You understand me? And that's the key to it all. When you figure out your worth and your value, then you have to get the skill set to say, well, goddamn, how can I pay myself what I'm worth? Because I'm working for somebody else that ain't gonna never pay me. But they paying me in a different way. They paying me in the experience to be able to pay myself. I always tell people I got a degree in experience. You
Mm-hmm.
understand me? And because if you go to an institution for 4 years and you get educated and you get paid to be there, just because you're not paying them don't mean that the education is not worth it and you don't get a degree in that field. You understand me? So I did 100%. I got a degree in the luxury space. I got a degree in sales. I got a degree in clienteling and
Come on.
management. And that's what I use today to build my businesses, understanding how do you take a product and how do you make a person feel and understand the value of this is exponentially more, right? How can a person look at a luxury product and say this is worth $50,000, right? And understanding the essence of producing value, curating, designing value is what I've used to build my business. This is what you got to understand with jobs, right? And is that not only are you getting paid what you're getting paid, but you also, they're teaching you at the same time. So you have to put both things into value. How much is the education worth as
Come
well,
on.
right? Because if you only looking at it transactional from your time basis, saying that, well, I work 10 hours and I feel like my time is worth this, but what are you learning in those 10 hours is what you also have to add into the equation when you assess the value. Because that's when you can determine it's worth it, when it's time for you to fire your job. You understand me? So where you can say, yes, they paid me 10 hours worth in dollars, then they paid me another 10 hours worth in education. You understand me? And when you actually have a plan, you know where to funnel the education to be able to produce your business. So that's what I was able to do when I stole the knowledge. I was stealing knowledge everywhere. You understand me? I'm I'm look, I'm looking at handbooks, I'm looking at all CRM. I'm saying that, oh, I'm gonna apply all of this because this was my thought. I say, if I create this higher conscious radical branding, but or brand with this messaging, but if I do it with the quality of this luxury aesthetic, you understand me? I will merge two worlds together that have never come together. So I knew that if I stole this knowledge and I applied it to my business, then I'll be able to create a whole new business model. And I know that individuals that think like me have never been in this field before. So it was never the opportunity for this type of mergence of talents and message. So this was my thought process when I was going about it. And when I did that, I was able to have a business downtown Oakland where it's a Black Guy protocol, but I'm able to sell it with a higher aesthetic because I understood the protocol of business, right? And so what I want to tell all of you all is, whether you work in a job or whether you have a business, you always have to measure the education of what you're learning in that business so that you can progress. You
Ooh.
understand me? So that if I'm working a business myself, if I'm running a business the same way I did when I first started, your business is failing, right? If if I know exactly as much as I did when I started the business, then you're failing, and your business is going to be a reflection of your mindset and your level of education and
That's good.
execution. So therefore, you have to constantly be growing and learning. So therefore, your goals become bigger, and those goals are backed by more experience. So every level of goal setting that you execute upon, you now have a greater level of educate to execute it. You understand me? Education, rather. So I meet this goal, but now I have the experience of meeting that goal. Now let me create a bigger goal. So now each goal becomes easier to obtain. And this just becomes a process to where you're constantly growing and developing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and that's how I move throughout life, that you're never going to see me year 2000, and then in 2001, I'm doing the same thing. 2002, I got the same thing, making the same money. 2003, I'm on the same thing. 2004, no, that's death. Only dead men don't move.
Ooh.
You go visit a person graveyard today, it's exactly the same as when you last was there.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. So what I look like my life being exactly the same when you come back and revisit me.
Come
You
on.
understand me? How can I know that that person is alive if they're not growing?
Yeah.
You understand me? Life. So it's the same thing, and I use the analogy of a tree. See, we expect the tree to grow. We come back and the tree has grown. We come back, we plant a tree, we come back 10 years, and that tree's grown into a full tree. We won't be surprised. We're gonna be like, damn, you done grew a lot. No, that's what a tree supposed to do. That's the nature of a tree.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
see, we've got it so twisted and misconstrued that when a person grows, we get surprised, as this is not their nature to grow. So when I see a person grow, I say that's what you're supposed to do. You understand me? That's in your nature. When I see you haven't grown, I see you acting against your very nature. You growing, man. You know, I'm like, what I'm supposed to do? I'm a tree, baby. You know what I'm saying? I grow, I produce fruit, I branch off, I drop seeds, and it grows more trees. The things that I produce, matter of fact, can create a field of trees, can create a forest. So you have to ask yourself, not only are you growing singular, but the
Uh-huh.
fruits that you produce, can they grow a forest?
Yeah,
Can they
yeah,
grow a
yeah.
jungle? Can they
Yeah,
grow a
yeah.
harvest?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if the duplication of the essence of your qualities cannot produce something of value, then how do you know you are growing in value? So I took on a lot of responsibility. I took on a whole storefront. And I had a new apartment. Just bought a new car at the time. So I'm in for a real test and real challenge at this time, because now I told myself I'm never going to fill out another resume. Once you tell yourself you're never going to fill out another resume, there's no plan B, then you're willing to go homeless for your plan A. You're
Oh.
willing to go, you're willing to go hungry for your plan A. You're willing to take all the chips on the table and you say all in.
Yeah,
Or you're
yeah,
gonna have
yeah.
to wait and you're gonna have to keep flipping until that shit say I won because I'm all in.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
we changing the rules around here. So I went and started my business in Oakland, California, downtown. And on that, I learned so much in business. That's when it really kicked in. That's when the sexiness of firing your job was over. Now it's like, all right. See, that's when the business part came in. Now I realized that, damn, starting a business is not as easy as I goddamn thought.
Uh-oh.
Because now I got to deal with the production, I got to deal with the supplies, I got to design, I got to do the budgeting. I have to not only do the budgeting when I sell something, I also have to sell it in a manner to where I can manage to buy back based on my profit and then juggle that so I can pay the rent. And like it became so much that I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Then I got to create a campaign. I got to do my sales. I got to do my orders. It was all kind of different things that I had to learn about that were the small details. The sexiness went away and the ugliness of
Yeah,
business
yeah, yeah.
started to come in. And I had to ask myself, I was ready for the sexiness, but was not ready for the ugliness. You understand
Ooh.
me? And and when I realized that I was ready to get ugly for my business, that's when I knew I was truly all in and I made the right decision. It wasn't when I was making the money and it became profitable. It was when I wasn't making the money and I was still all in. You understand me? It was when the money wasn't coming in and I could barely pay my rent the next day. And I said I will still do everything necessary for me to learn the skill sets to build my business up like the people I was just working for. You understand me? So once that happened, I was talking about my journey on a daily basis. And I got maybe 400 followers at this time. I'm talking about this is what I'm gonna do. This is my dream. This is the mindset you gotta have as an entrepreneur. This is what you're supposed to do in sales. This is the design protocol. So young men from the college out in Chabot, they see me talking and they ask their professor or the leader of their organization, can you bring in keys? You understand me? Here I got 400 followers. I'm just on the street talking my shit. You understand me? Doing my business. The most speaking I did was when I go speak at rallies. You understand me? Because it was no black representation, but there was no cameras there. So the moment that they called me up, they said it was gonna be 3 months. At the time, I ain't want to wait no goddamn 3 months, but I said, shit, what I got to lose? So they was gonna pay me $500. And at the time, it still wasn't nothing. I say $500. Fuck it, this is my first speaking gig. It's my first check. So shit, $500 sound kind of good. Like I talk all day. Y'all about to pay me to talk? And I just got off the phone with my videographer. And what I did is I decided to take half of that $500. I said, I'm gonna pay you to be there for an hour and videotape me. I told him, I said, listen, once we videotape this and the world hears the principles and the quality of my articulation, it's gonna go viral. I told him this. You understand me? I said this is gonna start me a platform. This was my whole plan, and I'm saying this because I never went in there half cocked. I went in there with a whole plan from the beginning to build a global brand, and I said that 19 Keys brand will be known around the world. And I'm studying all these sciences on building a brand and esoteric knowledge and metaphysics that I was going in there with. So I went in there, I executed. Not, I didn't execute to the standard of which I thought I could, because I had so much high standards for myself. I didn't think it was good by the time I was done talking. I said, damn, was that good? I talked for an hour and a half straight, lacing all of the keys I had in me. You understand me? I'm there in the ring like I'm fighting with Tyson. I said, I'm giving them what I got. And so my videographer, he did it in the highest quality aesthetic you ever seen a black man do. I had on a nice jacket. I had on my crowns. I had on it all. And he sent me his footage. And when he sent me the footage, he had it chopped up, much like sometimes our videographers and graphic teams send us stuff and be like, nah, I don't like it this way. You understand me? I said, send it to me quality, but send it to me in a raw form. Take all that stuff off. Because I already had a plan on which I wanted the world to interact with 19 Keys.
Right.
From the first video I put out, it went viral. The second video I put out, it went viral. Then I remembered the principle of when something is on fire, it's easy to light the fire. It's easy to keep the fire lit than it is to relight the fire. So I said that I have to keep this going. I'm never going to stop this now. Once you have something that works, keep working. Right?
Right.
And so I decided to, and before that, like me and Brother Ben, we was talking, because at the time me and Brother Ben had interviewed me before that because we had both fired our jobs at around the same time. And I remember doing an interview with Brother Ben on all of the stuff that we doing, and we were studying social media and all this knowledge and information, but it didn't come handy until I had the platform. So even before that, I was educating myself already on digital real estate, right? But
Yeah.
but I didn't have any digital real estate. But when it
Yeah.
came, the opportunity came, I was able to use the information that was already there. So I wasn't acting just off instinct. I was acting off education. And see, this is the important part that people need to understand, because a lot of people, you jump on social media, but you didn't do 6 months study before that. You understand me? You jump into a business, but you didn't do 6 months study before that. You didn't try and go get your 4-year education before that. You just jump into it because you seen somebody else do it, and then you wonder why you don't get the same results. So fast forward to starting the platform, going on a long ass journey. At the time, I was writing a book. I was trying to figure out what was the product that I was going to add. I wasn't even selling on my platform because I wanted to just get my peer value.
That's
So I'm
good.
getting
That's good.
reached out from people, celebrities, organizations, everybody. I'm a hot commodity at this time. You know what I'm saying? Like they pouring in. I had 10,000 followers, and I thought it was. I said, "Oh, I got a swipe up link. I'm popping." And even when I got a swipe up link, my little brother was like, "Bro, why you ain't putting up the crowns?" I'm like, "That's not how I'm gonna sell. That's not how." Listen, I want to create a brand. I'm not trying to get sales. So it was a difference. So, but he was like, "But you kind of broke though." Like, I was like, I get that. But this is long-term vision right here. You thinking short-term. I'm not thinking how I can pay my bills for next month. I want to think about how I want to think about paying my bills ever again. You understand? And so what I decided to do is I decided not to sell the crowns. Instead, I decided to brand the crowns, right? And so every time you see me, I'm wearing a crown. Every viral video I put out, I'm wearing a crown. What better way to sell that and to have your crown in front of millions of people? And they never
That's
feel
good.
like you selling them something, so it becomes natural marketing. You understand me? Natural marketing, organic marketing. So therefore, my brand development started to become different because I also said that I want to build my brand on my terms, and I know